It's been 2.5 years, almost 3. But we're long overdue some sort of shake-up, some upgrading, some refreshing to make the show even better than it already is, because god damn it, it's the best damn podcast in the world.
So for the next couple weeks, we're going to be doing a survey asking what listeners like about the show and what they don't, and also taking ideas for new segments, maybe even new spin-off series. But to make that happen, we need your help.
So if you check out the description of this week's episode, you'll find a survey link where you can talk about how much you want to get rid of the news segment.
Oh, God, come on.
How you doing, George?
I'm hanging in there, just sipping on a coffee mug of miso soup.
We can all hear it. We can definitely all hear it.
We have heard your feedback as well as my soup, and
wow,
it's a little humbling to know just how audible my enthusiasm really can be sometimes.
Yeah, it's sad Liam can't be here. Because
he's mining video games in the video game mines.
But I guess we could talk about more of the feedback when he's back. But wow, that feedback was it's good.
This week's gonna be Matt and me.
George just want to talk about the feedback,
which will be interesting. Instead, we can talk about Half-Life and Doom and
George doesn't like confrontation.
I am a non-confrontational pushover who lets people walk all over me.
He likes that, yeah.
No, I don't. I hate it, actually. It's aged me miserably. I feel like I'm 10 years older.
You didn't hear that.
Anyways. I'm a little flustered here for several reasons. I mean, I finished Half-Life Alyx like 4 or 5 days ago.
Okay.
And I'm itching to talk to someone about that ending.
Well, okay.
But apparently I can't.
I said I was going to do it. I was going to finish it. And then you were like, you want to play some VR games? And then we played like 5 hours of Pavlov yesterday.
And it was great.
It was fucking great. I mean, we were doing some try hard by the end. We were definitely doing some try hard. I was doing like hand signals to you. I don't know if you saw. I was just like, yo, because they could hear us when we're talking, which is the weirdest thing. They won't allow you to mute your mic, which is yeah.
I don't know quite how it happened, but at some point your mics got turned off. But we need to explain what Pavlov is. I'm sure there's lots of people listening who already know what Pavlov is, depending on whether or not you're into VR. Pavlov is like VR Counter-Strike. It's a set of really well-made guns with well-made ballistics and recoil patterns and moving parts you gotta learn, plugged into some very rudimentary maps where slow chunky SWAT guys shoot each other with said surprisingly well-made virtual guns.
Yeah.
And they have a Counter-Strike style mode where one team plants a bomb, the other team tries to prevent it, and there's no respawns for a little 3-minute round or so. And I love that shit. I live for that shit. Like, this is the next time in line that I've gotten super sucked into a tactical shooter where you have to work to get every kill, and you just know in the back of your head that the other player has to sit out for 90 seconds. And it feels so good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good fun. We suck at it right now. But in terms of other people, I would say.
No, man, I'm fine at Pavlov. Fight me.
I mean, there's some younger children that really.
Oh, the community's fucking awful.
They really know how to play.
I'm okay with like a game community that knows how to play and is supportive for new players, because as chaotic as it was talking between a Discord and the Pavlov match last night, when we finally did get matched up with randos, not only did they start carrying us, but then they started giving us tips.
Yeah.
But that came after, like, screaming racist slurs from children,
God.
And last
Yep.
night, I tried to go to bed at a reasonable hour and couldn't sleep. So guess what I did?
You did not.
I got up and played some Pavlov. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You gotta burn that energy off. Sometimes when you're lying in bed and you're just full of energy and there's a pandemic outside, you gotta burn that energy off, and it'll knock you right out when you're done.
Gonna be
Anyways,
the first one to jack in. You're gonna be the first one.
Who says I already haven't? So Pavlov's VR features include proximity voice chat. You can hear the enemies talking through their voice chat besides walls, and you also hear your teammates naturally when they're close to you with locational audio. You also have to hold your hand up to your ear and press a button to activate a microphone radio if you want to talk to them from a distance. You can use hand signals with, and if you have a Valve Index with finger tracking, you can like point in certain directions. And I wonder if competitive Pavlov exists and what it would look like. If people would actually use those features for strategic reasons, or just run for the fastest route possible to shoot each other as fast as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They would talk and then move to a different location, just try to confuse the enemy. Oh, yeah. Because if you talk and they hear you, they're going to know where you're at. Especially for people who play so much.
Yeah.
You could tell. You could tell they
like,
knew like spawns. They knew everything for like team deathmatch. Oh my God! That's not the game to play. The mode to play.
Last night, our friend Rio was hiding behind a desk, and I think I saw the enemy use some process of elimination to start blind firing in the only hiding places left, and until he eventually won by timer, but it was still cool to see a player like blind fire into hiding spots until they found the one, like using tricks to narrow down where the enemies were instead of it just being a straight death match. And also, since it's VR, like holding the gun up to your eyes and lining down the sights feels so much more satisfying and intense than just pointing and clicking. And
it does, especially the scope. You just hold it right on your eye. I mean, it obscures your view from anything else, but if you have some teammates around you, you do that real quick. Oh my God. Hold your hand steady.
You can keep your gun held in a certain position where it's like half in one eye and the other eye is clean. Where if you keep both eyes open, you'll have good peripheral vision, but then you close one eye and you're instantly sighted. And in keeping your arms raised up like that is a physiological effort that depletes your IRL stamina meter in exchange for the readiness of immediate confrontation. Oh, it's so good!
It is pretty good. It is definitely pretty good. I heavily enjoy the Pavlov games. We played a couple mods as well. We played some Nazi zombies that George absolutely loved. If for people who played, I think it's World at War, I believe. Yeah, I mean, that was a really good one. Come on now, you're a hater. You're a hater. That one had Nazi zombies in it. I believe it was World at War. With the first Nazi zombies, that map is ported into Pavlov, and it's pretty cool. The mod itself, it runs its course after one playthrough, but in like less than an hour, you're done. You're done with it because the shots that when it hits the zombies, it doesn't really have any animations for it. And
animations are a little janky.
Yeah, and the headshot hitbox or whatever, it's just not right. It just doesn't feel right. The guns don't feel right with the zombies. I guess it didn't get ported over quite right or balanced quite
I'm just so tired of fighting zombies in VR. Every freaking VR FPS game, tries to pit you against zombies more so than other enemies because they'll just shamble around and get shot, and programming the AI is easy. And it's such an uninteresting matchup. You get a guy strapped to the brim with guns against a like helpless animal, basically. It's shooting zombies in FPS games is just like one step above hunting, except you're not doing it out of like honorable survival. You're doing it for fun. And that's just, there's something very unsatisfying about that conflict. Unless they're fast zombies, at which case I have such a hard time aiming and shooting at them that I'd rather play against a different enemy either. So Pavlov has a zombies mode built in that uses Left 4 Dead assets, I believe. And the zombies are Left 4 Dead style fast running zombies, and they are too fast. The Nazi zombie mod for Pavlov has zombies that I feel are too slow. It just gives me flashbacks of games like Arizona Sunshine that were tech demos, more or less, to just see if shooting in VR would work. So they give you some stationary scarecrow type enemy to shoot. I was also a little sad to see how much you end up fighting zombies in Half-Life Alyx over soldiers who shoot back. I want enemies who shoot back and walk around, you know?
Oh, really? Because I actually don't like the zombies either. I rather shoot soldiers for some reason. I don't know. I don't want to shoot
for
head
some
crabs
reason.
forever.
You mean fun?
Yeah, head crabs are just boring to me.
I like head crabs. Head crabs are faster than zombies. Head crabs can hide in the clutter. Head crabs have
ammo. It's because the ammo.
Right.
I run out of ammo too quickly.
Okay.
I haven't run out of ammo yet because I'm stingy. But
I
still.
sure did.
Yeah.
I played it like RE. I shot the zombies in the legs and then would put like crates in front of doors and block them in. Like I did not, for the first day in Half-Life Alyx, I did not search through all the cupboards you're supposed to get all the ammo you're supposed to. But I ended up adapting to that pretty darn well by making use of physics objects. If you throw a physics object at a zombie, it stuns them. If you shoot them in the legs, it stuns them. So I got into a routine of playing it like an RE game where I would stun zombies and then hide behind a door and stack something in front of the door and just try to leave them behind.
I kill them all. I kill them all.
Okay.
I just make sure every shot counts. I like run up to them with a shotgun and put it in their face and blast.
What's happening to me now? Do you hear me? I'm arguing for zombies' rights.
No, I blast them, dude. I don't want to waste
It's a goddamn pandemic, dude. It's not like they had any choice in the matter. They didn't sign up for this shit like the Combine do. Feel free to shoot those guys. Corrupt cops, yeah, whatever. Some poor, helpless guy who happened to be minding his own business, jerking off in his house when a head crab jumps through the window. Apparently, that's the bad guy now. You see what the Combine do to us? They pit us against each other. So that they can divide and conquer.
Oh, my God. I hate the zombies, dude. They're annoying. Whoa. And every time you shoot them with your little pistol, it just takes forever for them to die.
I like their noise. I like the aesthetics. I mean, Half-Life Alyx zombies are at least better zombies than the usual VR zombies, but Arizona Sunshine...
Throw physics objects at you? That's the difference.
They throw physics objects at you. They also will spawn a head crab if you don't shoot them in the head. And at least in this game, you can move around a bunch of physics objects to block their path or stun them or whatnot. It seems like now that we're a week after launch, the one negative universal criticism over Half-Life Alyx is that there's no melee combat system.
Yes.
You feel that?
I was wondering why there isn't any melee.
So
I tried picking up stuff, trying to hit people with it, and you could just tell like the game doesn't want you to do fast movements with any objects, and I'm just like, what's going on?
I still ended up making use of physics objects as if they were melee weapons. If you watch the stream, you'll see it. Like I'll hold objects out and you like I'll hold a broom and sweep a zombie away from me. Like it won't do damage, but they'll still like kind of shamble backwards when you hit them with something. There's some weird interview quotes about how they prototyped the game with virtual crowbars in it, but it made players believe they were Gordon Freeman, which I don't think would have made a single lick of difference in the world. I think the reason they didn't do it actually is because ammo reasons. I think they, in true Resident Evil style fashion, they wanted to distribute just enough ammo for you to scrape by as you go through the game and make you feel that tension.
Dude, can you imagine being able to like, because we haven't talked about the gravity gloves. Those things are satisfying as fuck.
Oh, they're great.
Like, yeah, being able to just point at something and flick it to you and grab it. It just works every single time. It is awesome. To be able to do that with melee weapons around the area would have been so cool.
Oh, yeah, like cool. Flicking a knife towards you and then throwing it.
Yeah. It would have been so cool. That's a missed opportunity,
next time,
man.
I guess.
Yeah.
I think
mods,
I can see why they did it. Right, yeah. Oh, which we'll get into. But in any case, yeah, I guess, do you want to talk about Half-Life for a bit? Even though we just did talk about Half-Life for a bit?
We just did talk about Half-Life. What do you want to talk about Half-Life?
Matt, you still haven't finished it, right?
I still haven't finished it. No.
When you finished it, let's talk about the ending. It's a lot to digest.
Really? Okay. All right. I will be finishing it this week. So
before we talk about Doom, I'll talk about Dusk. I am satisfying my Doom bloodlust with Dusk. I am letting my anger out. I'm reading the news and getting angry, and then blasting Public Enemy and playing Dusk. Ooh. Dusk is pretty damn good. And it's a hell of a lot cheaper than Doom. And it might scratch a lot of the itches I've been wanting to get out of Doom in terms of just satisfying heavy metal 90s FPS in which bad guys explode like they're made out of cardboard at the slightest touch. Dusk is an old retro 90s FPS throwback style shooter that looks and feels like, I want to say, Quake 2, but it has a lot of surprisingly modern design sensibilities. It has a Havoc style physics system going on where when you when you point your big chunky gun in a big chunky room and fire a giant slow-moving projectile that turns into a perfect yellow sphere for an explosion, you see physics objects like crash and bounce around as a result, and it's real satisfying. Sometimes you do physics puzzles of stacking crates up to get into new areas. So if you see a giant revolving in midair health pickup at the top of a building, the 90s logic would be to fire a rocket at your feet and bounce yourself up there. In this game, they give you some extra options around finding secrets and solving old FPS puzzles like that. There's also a lot of humor to it. It's hard to see at first glance because the game has a very gritty, brown, grungy aesthetic, but as a few minutes in kind of reveals a cutesiness to it. Like, a lot of enemies are campy hillbilly Klansman type characters. There's jokes sometimes sprinkled throughout the level. Sometimes the enemies will just have little frowny faces drawn on them. You can press the use button in front of a lot of items and get descriptive hints, one of which is a photo of the developer's cat or something, and your character will just say, looks like some kind of demonic creature. There's a certain element of wholesomeness to it that is hard to describe, but it doesn't, unlike some grimy, grungy games from the 90s and some edgy try-hard games from now, it doesn't really relish in the misery of its setting so much as it's just kind of subtly self-aware of... it's totally self-aware of how excessively edgy that kind of art style is.
And
in a way that I was surprised. You can slide. You can slide and dual wield like almost every weapon in the game. You can dual wield shotguns.
I feel like in the fast FPS these days, you just have to be able to slide. Am I wrong? Like, I was playing Bright Memory, which is like a cheap...
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and
that's the second time today.
You can't slide. Why? Now, I'm not saying the game is bad or anything. I didn't quite finish it, but it's cheap and it looks good and it plays fine. But you can't slide. Okay, you can't slide.
Yes.
It irritates me every time.
I can't believe you're bringing up Bright Memory.
Why?
I was doing a Games from My Inbox video, and I found a Bright Memory at the bottom of my inbox with some sticky gunk on it. I Googled Bright Memory, and I found out it's a very interesting story behind the game. This is like the only Chinese indie FPS out there right now.
It's like one guy, right?
But as it turns out, he stole a lot of assets to make this game.
Oh.
And I believe he later apologized. I know he apologized. I don't know if he reimbursed the original artists or not. But it's like a weird example of what the indie gaming scene would look like in China if it exists. And that's like a Western style FPS with Japanese style character design and combat to it, made out of a lot of stolen assets because copyright.
I knew it looked so familiar. It looked a little copy and paste. Just a little bit. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So as it turns out, that game's gotten a lot more press coverage than I thought, and was not eligible for.
People really like it. I mean,
yeah. Someone mentioned in the Discord today. I'm just surprised it. I thought it was some super obscure hidden thing, but it turns out everyone knows about Bright Memory.
You see, the thing is, he probably ran into the situation where he had a game idea, but he had no art. He couldn't draw. He couldn't model. I mean, that's a lot of game development. That's a lot of game design.
like having the when making video games, there are oftentimes moments where you notice that some people are good at math and other people are good at art, and there are maybe two kinds of people in the world.
Yeah, because I was I downloaded Unity, right? So I want to try making something, and I just realized, like, man, the art. I don't know if I can do the art. I need to get some community assets somewhere, and just like slap that thing on just for the time going.
I'm wondering about that. I mean, I haven't seriously tried to draw anything in a while, so
yeah, me either.
I'm wondering if I ever got into game development, I might just go straight up abstract with it and do some kind of design that only needs shapes or just shapes and beats.
I don't know, man. I feel like at least I would spend time on the main character, and then everything else would just be weird. And I'll make a story behind it. just for the giggles, really. I mean, I'm just gonna be messing around, to be honest.
I can't imagine what the inside of my head would look like if I tried to draw it. It's been so long I can't even picture what my art style would look like if I even had one.
Yeah, you know what? Me either. It's been a while.
I'm thinking thighs. If I ever run out of money, maybe I can just start a Patreon where I just draw thighs. Dude, I've been locked up for way too long. I'm finally starting to feel it. I am finally starting to go quarantine crazy. It took me 3 weeks, longer than everyone else, because I'm already used to this shit. But I have not left the building in 2 weeks and 4 days. I have seen one human being in that time for 4 hours of one day. And now I just want to draw a bunch of thighs.
George, what's going on?
Shut up! No! I need to get out, man. I need to get out of here.
We're going to see a lot of that in the feedback right now. George, thighs? Come on, man.
See what's happening to me? I mean, how are you? You have a roommate, right? So you get like some human contact.
Yeah. In a couple days out of the week, I do go to a studio that has like around 6 people there. So that's not too bad. It's not too bad. Everything else, and Trader Joe's, the people there are nice. You say hi, you have a little conversation, you get some type of human contact. Some type of social. Yeah, get your bloods going, and then you go back home to loneliness. So 2 things died on me. Okay, George. 2 things died on me. Yeah. My PC, my little laptop that I've been rocking since I sold everything and came over to California to to put in better life in my sights. And that broke. And then when I was going to Micro Center, my car shut off. So yeah, it just shut off nearly in the middle of the road. Micro Center guys, even though that store, the Tustin store, is pretty they're pretty sad. The employees are pretty sad for some reason. Don't know. I guess it's just too expensive here. I don't know. Compared to Marietta in Georgia, oh my God. Like the people there are so much better. I mean, I used to work there, but the people there are so much better.
Working retail right now is a very risky job.
Yeah, but I mean, my God, when you're like, I don't know, you don't want to talk to the customer at all. That's rough, man. That's rough. It's not everywhere in Orange County. It's just like that store. That store is pretty bad. Anyways, they helped me out. They pushed my car out the road. So there was like a fuse that broke or whatever, and I tried to get it towed to the CarMax, but the CarMax was closed. Then I had to tow it to a Kia. Because I had told it to a repair center for CarMax, and they couldn't fix it. He said it was beyond him. Now, this is what happened. The towing girl on the phone was like, it's going to be like $160 to tow it 4 miles or whatever. I was like, oh, no, I'm good. And I understand towing is expensive. And I didn't have it through my insurance at the time, but I definitely bought it after that. So I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, oh no, we're trying to help each other through the coronavirus event, and we're all trying to be here. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, what was your budget? And I was like, you don't want to hear my budget. I'm not. I wasn't trying.
No,
to
don't tell them your budget. Never.
And I was just like, I was like, all right, let me lowball this and see what happens. I was like, oh, $50.
Yeah, tell her $2.
I was like, $50. She was like, oh, let me talk to my boss. He seems to be in a good mood today. Let me see it. And she goes and she does this salesman trick thing.
Oh boy.
She goes, it's like, oh, luckily my boss is, she puts me on hold first and comes back after like a couple minutes. Like, oh, luckily my boss is in a good mood. He says you'll do it for $60. And I was like, $60 that told me the whole way. She's like, yeah, all right. So and she gets my credit card. She's like, it is a $50 canceling fee, and he'll be there in about 40 minutes. And I was like, okay. So a guy calls me, ready to tow me, tows me to the place. Me and him had a good talk. From Montana, he understands it's a little bit weird over here coming from the East Coast to the West Coast. West Coast people are a little different. We talk a little shit, and then we head there. Good time. Then he says when we park, all right, let me call my boss. Let me see what we're gonna do. And I was like, and I found that a little weird. I was like, okay,
yeah. I thought this had already been decided.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And then but the guy comes up to me. He's like, all right, it's gonna be $255. And I was like, oh no,
fuck that.
I was like, no. The guy, the woman on the phone told me $60. I'm not paying $255. What the heck? I already paid for this. And then he was like, all right, let me call my boss. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, not trying to be upset to you. It's not you. Someone told me something else. And I was like, I made sure that, the talk that we had before, I'm not trying to be mad at him, but I was like very, very stern. I was like, I'm not paying the $255. Talked to the boss. The boss was like, oh, the $60 is only for, just the flat fee for, it doesn't cover miles and gas. And I was like, listen, sir, I would have never have you guys told me if it wasn't $60. The girl knew this, and I explained what the girl told me and how she did this whole thing. And she was like, man, he's like, man, those girls, they say whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he's like, I'll try to get it. He said, give me a second. I'll talk to someone real quick. And he comes back. He's like, $80. And I was like, no, she told me 60. I'm going to pay 60. I'm not going to pay anything else. And then after, him being like, whatever, he was like, okay, go. If that's what they told you, 60. I was like, all right. And I go get the money and give the guy, and I was like, I hope this isn't cut like into your payment. He's like, yeah, this is like my own business. They like hire us out, so that's his own tow truck and everything. So he's not gonna get paid much from it at all. And I was just like, it made me just feel absolutely terrible. And I was just like, why? Why did this happen? But I ended up paying $60 for a tow, even though I feel completely horrible. Isn't that something? And I asked him, does this happen all the time? And he says, yes, it happens all the time.
Well, what are you supposed to do? Push it?
It happens all the time. And I was just like, Yelp review. People are scamming people during the coronavirus event. Mm-hmm. Isn't it? That sucks, man. Can you imagine? That's $200 more that I could have paid if I was just a pushover.
I probably would have ended up being pushed over.
You could keep my car. I'm paying you $275. Not when you promised me a certain amount. I want a flat fee. It's like 3 to 4 miles down the road to come and pick me up and go down. I know gas is crazy, but I mean, no, gas is actually not that crazy. It's actually pretty cheap, but come on. That's too much. That's way too much. But I built a new PC because my laptop died. So that is a good part. And so now I'm back to normal. Thank God to the warranty that I put on my laptop. So yeah,
you seemed to throw it together pretty quickly.
Well, I've been building since I was like in high school, like beginning of high school. I've been building.
So what hardware do you got this time?
I got me AMD. It's been a while since I had AMD. Man.
Oh, you went over to the other side.
Well, yeah,
you're
they're better
Team
right
Red
now.
Okay,
they're better. They've been killing it right now, man. Props to AMD, man. Intel's still holding up their prices. Sure, they can keep doing that if they want.
well, no, I mean for your graphics card is.
Oh no. Graphics card has to be NVIDIA.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. That's the conflict I was used to. Anyways, AMD CPUs are the good one right now.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, it's drastically cheaper. Drastically cheaper for what I do. I do a lot of editing all the time. So I need the cores. The speed.
Give the cores to me.
Yeah. The speed is what Intel has an edge for that, but it's still a little bit more expensive for what you're getting. And it's just better to just get an AMD at the moment. Intel needs to drop their prices like way down or add more cores, add something, because you can get so much more buying an AMD right now. Like that, I mean, that's why the consoles have it right now.
Guess what processor I am using to edit videos on at the moment?
What? Which one?
A Intel i7 860 from 2011.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Really? You think so? Because this shit is like driving me up a wall.
Oh, are you
5-hour render times, dude? It was the 1080p 60 transition. When videos started going over to 1080p 60, that's when my work computer could no longer render them quickly.
Whoa!
Like it turned a 45-minute render into a 4.5 hour render.
Okay. Maybe, yeah. That shouldn't be 5 hours for your videos are like 30 minutes or so. Yeah, it shouldn't be 5 hours. I mean, I know you have some effects going on there, but
the neat video filter really slows things down. But
yes, the neat any noise remover would kill everything.
But man, I love that thing. It makes my old shitty camera look so good.
What do you chose to go cheap. You chose to go cheap.
I never said I bought the
neat
video filter. You
spent $10,000 on an index.
1,000. That's 1/10 of what you just said.
10,000, but you spent just less than half of that on a camera. Get can't even get a good camera.
But I can't play video games on the camera. Also, I bought your recommendation of camera choice, the Sony A6K.
Oh my god! I wanted you to get a 4K camera. I gave you a list of cheaper cameras that were good for the price, and you got a used camera.
And it was still $600.
Oh my god!
And this thing overheats.
Oh my god!
And can't make a video longer than 20 minutes without having to get restarted. And there's no slide out monitor attachment, so I can't look at the camera and talk to myself like I'm a millennial YouTuber.
Oh my god!
And that was the Matte Visual recommended product.
No. You bought it way before I said anything. You bought a used camera, and really quickly, I was just like, I gave you a Canon option too. I gave you a Canon option. I
think I don't know what parameters I bought it on, but
we're talking about this on the podcast.
It's still actually okay. No, look, with all due respect, it's actually still way better than the one I had earlier.
Oh well, of course,
the G12.
Yeah,
and that's the one that only looks good after you plug the neat video filter on.
Yeah.
So when I said my old shitty camera, I actually was not referring to my recommended Matte Visual product, which though it does overheat and can't record more than 20 minutes without you having to press the button again, the footage that it makes in the interval time though is always gorgeous. Yeah. But anyways, especially in that Carl Sagan,
they fixed that by
costume.
the way, the overheating. So
what do you mean? Do I got to download a software update?
No, you just gotta spend an extra $1,000.
Fuck off. I also bought that $600 tripod that you recommended. It actually came in pretty useful. No, more like $400 tripod, but still really fancy video tripod.
You can't spend $1,000 on a camera, but you can spend $600 on a tripod. Get the hell out of here.
No, it was $400 on a tripod, $600 on a camera. And for some reason,
he's joking, guys.
No, I'm
$400 on a try. $400.
Here's another weird thing about the way I think of this. I regret the $1,000 Valve Index purchase a lot more than the $600 camera and $400 tripod, because I feel like that $1,000 Valve Index is not going to make me as much money as the $600 camera and $400 tripod.
What tripod are you talking about for $400? What tripod?
It's the hang on.
It's a fluid head tripod, right?
It has an M on it. It's the one that you were using when we were making that fitness video.
That's like $100 or something like that.
Hang on, let
well
me.
Spent,
no,
man.
it was.
My thing
it was a lot more than 100.
I beat that thing up all the time. I take it out.
On yeah, they're damn good, and the little slidey thing on top is wonderful.
the
little slidey thing. Yeah, I love that slidey thing. I love sliding my camera every now and then. And can't do that when I'm talking to the camera, but when I'm filming stuff with it, it's a lot of fun.
Well, anyways, yes, Kara, so upgrades, and just a little quick story on how people are scamming people out here in Coronaville. And anyone who's out there, California. Like we said this last time, but we said at the end, if you're suffering for all that Corona stuff, man, that sucks, because a lot of my family is suffering from it. So hang in there. Hopefully the money they give us is not some one-time payment of $1,200, because that would suck. But yeah,
I have some bad news for you.
Yeah. When you said Canada was getting what, $2,000 a month,
$2,000
for 4 months, that's God, man. Why do we live here, man? I mean, we know why we live here. It's the U.S. We have to kind of live here, but yeah.
Well, it's also just the sheer dice roll of where we're born,
Well, I mean, the U.S. does have perks to living here. I mean, let's not.
Leaving is a lot more expensive if you don't have family and connections and dual citizenship elsewhere. It's the luck of the draw, my friend.
Yeah. So it's free here too. Yeah.
No, it's not. How the hell are we free when the cops will shoot you if you don't do what they say?
Yeah, you're right, actually. You're very right. That's some real shit right there. That's real shit.
I'm mad. I want to play Dusk.
I don't like. All right, like I played a little bit of Doom, just like a little taste, and I was just like, no, I know I don't like this. I remembered why I don't. I can't believe it.
I everyone on the internet except my two fellow podcast co-hosts loves the new Doom.
I don't know why. It's just, I guess the gunplay is just not there for me, I guess. No, I wouldn't say that. No.
I do remember the shotgun in 2016 feeling way less cool than everyone was making it sound.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I'm a Gears guy, so it needs to feel as satisfying as Gears, I guess. I don't know.
The shotgun in Doom 2016 just, like, poofed into thin air and enemies didn't react unless you were right up close to them. And the shotgun in the classic Doom games is almost a sniper.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. The chainsaw, get your stuff up, shoot everything, jump around, constantly move, that whole thing. That's why I know I probably wouldn't even play Dusk. It's not my, I don't know, I'm just not into it anymore. I used to play Quake on like the school computers back in the day. That was fun.
That's a lot like Dusk.
It's a lot like Dusk, yeah.
So wait, why don't you think you'd like Dusk?
I don't know. It's just going around shooting, endless shoot. Like, I need some story, man. I don't know. I
guess I've had my fill of having a story in a shooter because I played it immediately after Half-Life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was looking for something really fast and cathartic and mindless, and
I'm more into like RPGs nowadays. I just want to get into like a nice RPG, gear up, I just feel I still haven't scratched that itch. I feel like it's still there. Every time I play something, I'm just like, oh, I need more. I beat Ori. That's what it was. I beat Ori. Ori was fine.
Fine?
No, well, okay. No, the gameplay was great. The story was just fine.
The Ori story?
It wasn't magical, but the gameplay was great. Like the design of some of those levels were great. Like really great. The
Ori story was only okay.
And the story was really only okay.
The Ori story was a little boring.
The ending was nice, but because I kind of knew it was coming, but and it was satisfying to see the ending. But like everything before that was just, the journey wasn't so good getting there. It could have been wonderful.
So your quarry into the story left you a little what you're saying is your description of it's a little bit gory. It sounds like there's no glory here in the Ori story.
Oh my god, the rhymes. Are we gonna have another rhyme video, George?
Just give me a beat.
No.
No, I was thinking.
I beat Mega Man too, the first one. Mega Man was good. Mega Man was good.
Oh, yeah, you don't mean Mega Man 1, right?
No, Battle Network. I beat that.
Yeah.
I'm
happy for you.
Yeah, it's just good. It was good.
I don't know how to drive a conversation about Mega Man Battle Network because I haven't played much of Mega Man Battle Network. So I don't. What questions could I ask to engage you about?
Engage me, or engage yourself.
I need to engage you.
Is that what we're talking about? Engage yourself about Mega Man.
Okay, what are the RPG mechanics in Mega Man Battle Network?
I mean, I just want to say I beat it and it was still good. But like the RPGs is like you power up your character and you get in terms of charging your buster, rapid fire, and just straight up damage. That's pretty much, and then armor, and then you have your chips. But if you don't it's a very unique battle system.
That's what I remember the most about it.
Yeah.
I remember the strategic aspects of it. I remember a lot of talking and walking through a town, but I don't remember having to like distribute points into roles and leveling up characters and having to like crunch numbers in the battle system. It was like a lot of geometry, not math.
Yeah, it's not much math. I mean, you just get the best chips, make sure they all have like around
Lay's
the same letter
Flamin' Hot
code.
Cheetos.
Yeah,
Right.
same
Yeah.
code, and so you can get a bunch of them at once. Basically, load up your whole chip library with time bombs that do 160 damage, and just kill everything. Which is what I did. You could farm up chips pretty easily in the first one, but yeah, it's good. It's good. I like going back. I like going back, man. Going back in time. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I haven't played Animal Crossing. I see Liam has been playing Animal Crossing here on the dock.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly,
he's a normal person.
Yeah.
He's with all the others. And you know what I regret? Is not buying Animal Crossing. I really wish I had Animal Crossing, and I bet Animal Crossing is a very expensive purchase right now. Let's see what the Animal Crossing prices are like.
$60. You know it's 60. Come on.
Yeah, but what if it's sold out? Like Switches are selling out.
Oh, please.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's still 60 at Best Buy, but yeah, there's a little bit of a bottleneck going on in the used Switch market right now.
Used
Nintendo's Switches are selling out of most stores besides Best Buy. I saw them for sale on the Best Buy website. And used Nintendo Switches are at a coronavirus premium at the moment. I'm gonna look some prices up real quick.
I feel like they would die eventually because mine is already showing some wear and tear. Like one of my controllers won't charge. It won't charge.
Oh, my left Joy-Con has started getting the syncing issue, and that's just the worst.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride it out until it dies. I'm not replacing anything. I want my money with me for this coronavirus hell that we're going through. I'm gonna stack it up.
The aftermath is holy shit! $550? What?
For what?
A Nintendo Switch.
Really? Nah.
I'm looking at it right now on Amazon. Go to Amazon, type in Nintendo Switch, and the top two results are used resellers doing it for $550. Actually, I don't know if that's used. It might just be a reseller.
Yeah, because you could buy it at Target or whatever, man. They're like $300. Oh, out of stock
right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's the coronavirus. Everyone's at home playing their Switch right now, and that has actually caused Switches to sell out and get way jacked up on the resale market. Okay, these are not used; these are new. Let's see how much a used one is right now.
Wow, I did not know.
There are no used ones for sale on Amazon. Wow.
Damn.
Are all Amazon Marketplace retailers completely out of used Nintendo Switches at the moment?
Yes, so. Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
I did not know this was happening. I didn't know.
Yeah, and the Waffle Houses are closing down.
Everything's closing. Everything is going.
You didn't even say anything we were talking about the Oculus Rift and Alyx, and then I mentioned Waffle House.
That's what it was. The Oculus store went down when I was trying to download.
Oh yeah,
the drivers on the new PC. I was just like, I want to play Alyx. God dang it! Yeah, the whole store went down. Like I couldn't download. I had to go to a third-party website that just had it. Those alternate like download sites that just has like the exe just sitting there or whatever. I just download it from one of those.
Those are bound to exist so long as the products we buy in a store require you to download some stupid thing on your computer when you go home and try to use them.
Yeah, because I don't have a disk drive. I don't. Even though I wish I did have a slot on my case. I don't.
They could throw in a USB drive. You open up a Valve Index box and it doesn't have a driver disc in it or a driver drive in it or tripods in it or anything. $1,000 don't buy you jack shit right now. $1,000 just buys you 2 Nintendo Switches. Not even, because they're $550, not $500.
What did you mount them onto the wall?
Yeah, I used Gorilla Glue double-sided tape.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it actually tended to work out fairly well. I did not like my original placement, so I took them down and put them in a different spot. And that stuff comes off with just a wet knife. Like you just get a spray bottle and give it some spritzes, let it soak for a few minutes, and then start slowly wiggling a knife back there. And it didn't leave a mark. It came off fairly easily. I'm pretty happy with the Gorilla Glue double-sided mounting tape. The Valve Index, on the other hand, we got some issues to talk about.
So for some reason, I've had this image of you in the flannel and a hunting knife in the forest, like hunting.
Not in my underwear in the bedroom.
No.
On
now
my
you're
tippy toes on a stool.
I had a very manly image, and now it's gone.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, the coronavirus took it.
Now I'm seeing a diaper, George. Now I'm seeing a diaper in the woods. You in a
and
flannel
we're going to break.
Hey, do you really have to watch the rest of this stupid movie to see how it's gonna end? Here, take control with Sega CD. Those aliens are masters of disguise.
You've got the firepower, use it!
Not your typical video game, huh?
You call that shooting?
Better pay attention. Those aliens can look like anybody. Your brother, sister, anybody.
Hungry?
Ground Zero, Texas, only on Sega CD.
I have 2 news stories for the two of us this week. Since Liam's not here, we're not going to talk about the Nier remake. Instead, I'm going to start by telling us a tale. A tale of the great GameStop sickness saga of Cyber Year 2020. So, Matt, are you ready to hear a bunch of bullshit?
Yes, I'm strapped in and got my seatbelt on. Let's do it.
On March 17th, GameStop decided to cancel their midnight launch events for Doom and Animal Crossing, which was a responsible, conscious effort to help people keep from spreading the coronavirus to each other during the pandemic. However, it's important to know that GameStop has had pretty much, I believe, its worst year ever over the past year. Yeah. The writing's been on the wall for a decade. Digital game sales have been increasing along with a lot of media going over to digital distribution in general. Millennials are now watching Netflix and Amazon Prime instead of television, and we're all downloading our games instead of going out and buying them at GameStop most of the time. And even then, those of us who still want physical copies can probably find a cheaper place than GameStop to get them.
Right.
GameStop has changed its business model to sell pop culture toys and items outside of games.
Yeah.
And this past year, they've also started a tablet and phone buyback business where you can apparently pawn off some old electronics with them too. That all led up to this saga happening in March, beginning in March 17th with their first measures to handle the coronavirus crisis. March 17th, they canceled Doom and Animal Crossing's midnight event. Soon, they started releasing a memo to managers about how their business was essential. On March 19th, that's when a lot of state governments started issuing the stay-at-home orders and beginning like a more formalized quarantine process with the essential businesses and the non-essential businesses having different rules about who is not necessarily allowed to stay open, but who is advised to stay open. At least here in Georgia, it's still not you're not breaking the law, but you will get in some kind of trouble. For GameStop in particular, they argued that they were an essential business on the basis that, quote, "We carry products that enable and enhance our customers' experience in working from home." Quote. This was on a memo that the managers were instructed to give to police officers if they are being questioned by law enforcement for remaining open during a stay-at-home order. You can see a picture of a alleged memo that someone on Reddit anonymously posted. It has not been corroborated, but it literally is a piece of printer paper without even the GameStop heading on the stationery that just begins with the words "store letter to law enforcement," as if it has any legal authority whatsoever. And all it says is, due to the products we carry that enable and enhance our customers' experience in working from home, we believe GameStop is classified as essential retail and therefore is able to remain open during this time. It just says we believe. It doesn't, like, this isn't signed by any lawyers or anything even. It is just the GameStop corporate office believing that they count as essential. They have a phone number listed that I guess the police officer is supposed to call to get some answers. But as it turns out, that phone number just goes to a voicemail for the company's purported coronavirus inquiries response. Polygon has left a voicemail message, but has not yet received a reply. Store managers speaking anonymously to Polygon have reported conference calls, quote, telling us to throw a tech trade event, quote, not to turn away trades for any reason, and quote, to take advantage of increased traffic. Of which there is probably none they can take advantage of. Yeah. So on March 19th, they began employing social distance practices in their store. They're limiting it to 10 people per store with 6 feet between them and suspending next freaking day, just started straight up suspending the trade-ins and shutting down the demo stations. 2 days later, they start closing stores temporarily. The remaining ones that are open switch to doing online pickup at their door only. At which, have you ever done that process before?
No,
where you reserve something
never.
online and then pick it up in a store? They keep it behind the counter for you. I've done it at Best Buy a couple times, never at GameStop.
Never at GameStop.
Less than a week later, we're at March 27th, which is 3 days before we're recording this, and they have announced permanent closures of 320 stores in 2020. I imagine a lot of those are already the ones that are closed for the virus. But this is like the death knell, the second big blow to the American economy after those 300 Waffle Houses have closed down. Is that a shitload of GameStop retail employees are now getting laid off too, and those jobs are not going to come back for a long-ass time whenever spirited young entrepreneurs lifting them out by the bootstraps figure some way to start new businesses that hire those people back.
Yeah.
The remaining employees were given a memo to, quote, tape a GameStop plastic bag over your hand and arm when handling customer credit cards.
What?
Lightly.
Wear gloves.
You want to be able to get it off easily. Do not open the door all the way. Keep the glass between you and the guest's face. Just reach out your arms.
What?
Basically, keep working. Cover your hands in plastic bags instead of a $2 bag of gloves they can buy at the grocery store.
Yeah. I mean, not getting paid at GameStop is pretty low. The payment is pretty low. But
shit, I wonder if they still pay you on the company credit card like they did back in my day. Yeah, you worked at GameStop for a while, right? Too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you have to do the thing where they pay you on a debit card that you have to exchange for cash in an ATM at a store across the county?
Yep.
How is that legal?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I was like, no direct deposit? Nope. Gotta do this. Okay. Thanks.
So you're burning gas to get your gas money.
Or just use that stupid card.
So one very unfortunate person who I believe might have been caught in the crossfire here, who is obviously not saying much right now regarding the situation at all, is Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Why?
Who, after leaving as president of Nintendo, is now working for GameStop.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's on the board of directors.
For GameStop? Why?
That's his name. Now that he's done with Nintendo, I guess his next big ambition in life was to see that GameStop has a graceful exit from the world, but that is not happening by the looks of things.
You know, I mean, there's a big problem here with the whole thing, with companies staying open when other companies are staying I mean, we could go deep into this, because we're non-essential businesses are not supposed to be open, but they're open anyway, because if they're not open, they can't pay their bills. I was supposed to start something with my cousin, and I'm glad I didn't, because we would have died. That would have been a waste of money. You can't. Some people can't stay open. Some people can't stay closed. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. GameStop tried not to die, and and I'm pretty sure the people in there wanted to keep their jobs too, because you're already not getting paid much at GameStop. So I'm pretty sure they're willing to wear garbage bag hands, So all of it sucks.
You need to get paid to eat food to survive.
Yes. So all those people who have worked years at GameStop, there's a few of them. Cool dudes and girls, man. They're gone. Unless they work at those prestige ones, right? I'm pretty sure those stayed open.
How would you feel if Amazon bought up all these closed GameStops and turned them into, let's say, like Twitch gaming boutiques?
Twitch?
Like little LAN centers. Maybe they can sell microphones and cameras.
It's too small in there. Those GameStops are small.
I was thinking about that. There were some comments suggesting that might be what happens to the aftermath here.
Yeah, it's way too small. Way too small. Yeah, those stores, I don't know. Like, you ever go in the back? I don't know. I've only been to small stores. And the one I used to work at, like, the back room was barely
this little closet.
This little closet, That's pretty much GameStop. I don't even know how it's held up, to be honest.
When I was in high school and working at GameStop for a summer, I think I accidentally sold a woman $600 worth of empty boxes because I forgot to put the discs inside.
Whoa.
Well, you know how like they'll sell quote unquote new games that are still like have the seal broken and the disc taken out?
Yeah.
Like they do that as standard issue. That's the procedure that messed me up. It was like my second day, I think, in this version of the story. So
you lasted
I'm sure
only
I wasn't
2
that
days,
bad.
is what you're saying, before you got fired.
I think I lasted about a week. Yeah.
They were not sad to see you go.
Maybe a week and a half. It was just holiday help.
Yeah, no.
I got a few $100 on my GameStop script card that I redeemed at the local Target for a little bit of a gaming computer that I was building at the time, but it was a very deflating experience.
Oh, yeah. Retail will do that to you, man. I worked retail for years, man. It depends on where you're at, man. Depends on the people you work with, I would say, Yeah. Sometimes you have some bad workers, some bad coworkers. Sometimes you have some good ones.
My
bad
two
bosses.
teenage summer jobs were a movie theater usher and GameStop holiday help, and I hated both of them, but the people I worked with at the movie theater made it so much more bearable.
Yeah, man. It's all about the people. All about the people. Because every once in a while, you're going to have that customer that's just like mad at the world or something. There's nothing you can do about it. But just
I believe there has been a lot written by psychologists about how working retail for extended periods of time can trigger like intense depression and nihilism.
Yeah, about like the people around you and stuff, and think that the whole world is
and
just
the
like
entire human race. Yeah,
just garbage. Yeah.
Like that
definitely.
shit
Absolutely
takes a toll on normal human beings that I doubt we were built to handle.
Yeah, you can tell, like, especially when I make jokes and stuff. Like I'm coming in, I'm talking to one of the workers and making jokes and stuff, and you can just tell like they're just dead inside. I'm just like, yo, yeah, like, you all right? You good? Come on, man. What's up? Like,
I remember when the manager was showing me the organizational system, whenever he would slap games down in the bin, there was just like, the slap was a little unnecessarily hard. Like there was anger in his motions.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. I tell you what, like if I ever buy anything, like especially at like a Micro Center when I know they work on commission, I always go to the like the person with the greatest attitude. I know that's like bad or whatever, but if everyone avoids me,
get you on the upsell.
Yeah, everyone trust me. Like I would when I was in there, I had this gift card or whatever, and I didn't show the gift card, so I was just walking around looking at the stuff, and I was waiting for one person to ask me. No one was asking me. One black guy came out the back and said, "Hey man, you need something?" And like I was like, "Yeah." I was like, and he had the best attitude too. I was like, "Yeah, all right. So let me get that and that." And he was like, "Oh, okay. Let me get a cart." I was like, "Yeah." It's like that's what. See, everyone else, I know the drill. Like I've worked at Micro Center, so it's just like you can't just be judging people and just like avoiding. I don't know, man. People are just weird. Whatever.
The way I shop though, like I have my phone out. I'm comparing prices and brands online while looking at them on the shelf.
Yes.
Completely alone in my own little world.
Same. Yeah, I make sure I know. Yeah, but yeah, there it is. We talked a while.
And if we're gonna move on. We gotta move on from the great GameStop sickness saga of Cyber Year 2022. A slightly more upbeat, fun topic to talk about, and that is more Half-Life Alyx interview quotes.
Ooh, yay!
Polygon was talking to Robin Walker, who is the co-creator of Team Fortress for Quake, and who would later on go on to develop Team Fortress Classic and Half-Life for Valve. Evidently, he's still working there and is now speaking on behalf of the brand. Nice. He says that there's probably very, very likely going to be fan-made mods to make Half-Life Alyx have a non-VR mode. And over the course of the week, we've already seen people strive to be making that happen. Robin Walker says, "It will clearly demonstrate to people why we did this in VR. It will be a very crisp way of seeing all the stuff we got for the move into VR. If people play a modded version on a standard display and say this is just as good, that will teach me a lot. I will realize I'm wrong, and we didn't get as much as we thought, and I love to know whenever I'm wrong." Question for us is, will we think we're wrong for playing this game in VR rather than not VR?
I don't think so, man.
Yeah, no, fuck those kids.
No, all right. So let's be real here, all right? If it's either you can't play VR for a certain reason, either disability or whatever like that, you can't play VR, or you can't afford it right now. Yeah, whatever. And all you can do is like steal it and then mod it. I'm guessing that's like the crowd there.
If you are in that boat, I would highly recommend you actually watch a playthrough and then start dicking around with it.
Yeah,
like go in that order.
Yeah, because why not experience the game how it was meant to be played? It's like the whole I mean, I don't want to get into the the hard mode,
the NVIDIA
thing. Yeah, it's like the game was definitely made for VR, like without a doubt. When you play the game in every aspect, it's all VR,
and it's gonna be way too easy.
Yeah, the puzzles,
and a lot of puzzles aren't gonna work, and a lot of extra items and Easter eggs aren't gonna work. Like
it's not gonna feel as good though. It's just the puzzles are just not gonna feel as good at all.
There's some footage of people trying to dick around and get this to work, and you can see him in the outline. I have a little link. I'll plug it into the description. But you can see the player point at the marker on the window, right? You know how you draw on the window in the very beginning? And he's trying to do it with the mouse, and it keeps like slapping against the window and falling out of place. Yeah. Like there's a lot of hand motion dependent stuff that just would not work on a mouse and keyboard. And there's also so much expressiveness to glean from your body language in VR games. And that's why I would recommend watching a playthrough, because then you would get that humor. You would be able to see the players, even with no commentary, you would still see the players' hands react. If you are disabled or can't afford to play this game, I perfectly understand and sympathize and recommend watching a playthrough by one of your favorite internet personalities, because that's probably just as fun a way to go through the experience and probably way more fun than trying to go through the experience without the VR.
You're gonna ruin it.
I
for
feel
yourself.
weird recommending a playthrough over playing it yourself, but this is a situation where if those are what your two choices boiled down to, I would go sooner with the playthrough than the non-VR version.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of things that they do for VR that just wouldn't work when you have a mouse and keyboard and you can just
like
run
the
up
globe
and
puzzles,
slide
and there's a lot of those.
Yeah, and you can't even run in this game.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be real slow too.
Yeah,
you gotta
like you'll just
point and click with a teleporter.
Yeah, like what the game becomes something else entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, man, it's not going to be as satisfying. But yeah,
as it turns out, someone has already made a .bin file that you can throw in the folders that will activate a free walking FPS style camera. But as it turns out, the game comes with traditional flat FPS style weapons that activate with a command line that just shoot projectiles in the middle of the screen. There's no models at the bottom of the screen, but modders have already employed the Half-Life 2 models, and there's footage out there of some Alyx levels being played up to the point where you need to start moving your hands around for puzzles as if it was a very, very easy, very sparsely populated Half-Life 2 level. Another note from these videos is like this stuff is going to be very useful as for debugging and modding, but it also looks really, really good as a flat game, which I was kind of surprised by. Like you can really get a sense for how much of an upgrade there was going from 2004's Half-Life 2 on Source Engine to 2019's Half-Life Alyx on Source 2, Source Dusk. There's even on flat screen, like I'm still really impressed by just how much detail and clutter and brilliant texture work is crammed into like every little angle you can look at with this game.
it looks good.
The scale isn't there though. The Combine don't look as big and chunky as they do in VR. I wonder if Alyx's field of view is,
I think because we're
narrow
taller. We're
work.
taller. That's why. If you have it set to like around 6, or I think you're taller than me, so 6 something, right?
You know what was hilarious about Pavlov last night?
Yeah,
is that the children actually had shorter models in the game.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
like they were adult characters in like the full soldier armor with helmets and ski goggles and stuff, but they were just like a foot shorter than everyone else.
Oh my god.
But yeah, if you've played and beat Alyx, I'm not going to get mad at you for wanting to do a non-VR run. If you haven't played Alyx, I'd get a little salty if this is your first impressions. I'd rather you watch a commentary-free playthrough than miss half of the cool little interactables that Valve has put in there.
Being able to pick up stuff and move it, and you could do it I'm watching the video now. You can do it in 2D. That's just weird.
You can tell it doesn't work as well.
Oh, I didn't know there was a cat in the beginning.
Yeah, there's some stuff that we might have missed that are easier to spot in the flat screen mode. On the other hand, I'm just looking forward to dicking around with that cat on my replay. Yeah, I can't wait to go through it again on hard mode with some controller tweaks and also no pressure for streaming involved, and just fully turn the lights off and immerse myself and not say a word, come out 8 hours later with my eyes half melted. And I wonder how well the all those scripted events of just standing around looking at the spectacle are going to hold up on the replay.
I'm reading some of the comments. Sorry, I'm reading some of the comments like, oh, they're like mad that it wasn't VR.
Incendiary and angry. Oh, really?
Yeah, that it wasn't VR. I mean, that wasn't FPS experience, flat FPS experience.
Well, I see. Weird. Valve was right. VRless Alyx looks so much worse. Source fans plus time on their hands due to quarantine. The inevitable happens.
Yeah, I guess it's hard. It's hard for me to like see it through their eyes of like, why is it in VR? Because I guess I'm an adult, and if a developer wants to make it a certain way or design a game a certain way, then I think that's fine. I don't know, like it's weird because, and I'm an adult, and I have a job, so I guess it's different. You know, $200 for like a headset.
Dude,
the people that were playing
last night
would spend $200 on one of those Odyssey, Samsung Odyssey ones.
And remember when I was I don't know, were you there when I was having trouble with my controller and I couldn't get my guy to put the bomb on the site?
Yeah,
and I was just like,
$1,000 headset. Yeah.
And what? Why do you keep saying 10? You're magnifying my gripes by 10. Yeah, I was having trouble with the controller. I couldn't get my character to put a bomb diffuser in the right spot on the environment. And in my frustrated panic, I just like shouted, fuck, shit, oh goddamn, fucking index controller's not worth it. And then a child who is probably like, I don't know, done maybe $50 worth of chores their whole life says, yes, it is.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Kid, what do you know? What do you know about laboring for minimum wage for over a month to be able to afford what amounts to basically a toy for rich people in a time of crisis? What does that kid know about how much $1,000 actually can buy when your life is on the line?
Leave that kid alone. Dude, I saw you and I shot the guy. When he was heading towards you. Didn't die. Shot the guy.
Maybe you should aim for the head.
Okay, you know what? That was like the one time where I was actually upset. I was just like,
oh, I was upset at what the kid said.
I was like trying to save you, and it was like perfect line. Like he was just running towards you, and I was just, and he just wouldn't die. I was very confused, very, very confused. Can you put like triple armor on? Is that a thing?
No, I'm guessing it was just a combination of a weak gun plus no headshots in your burst.
Oh, you trying to...
Like, the headshots really matter if you're, like, doing a one-to-one facing the enemy. If they're looking away from you and have to turn around for a bit, you can get away with firing into their chest.
I wanted to make sure I get him, because I thought you were shooting him, too. So I was just like, shooting at something.
I was having trouble with the controller.
Yeah. But yeah.
In any case,
it was good time. Good time, Pavlov.
Oh yeah,
delicious.
Yeah. Great game, despite the children telling you they know better about what $1,000 is worth.
The saltiness.
I'm not salty. I'm George.
Yes. Oh, that's correct. A bag of George. Get your bag of George
chips. George flakes.
Oh man, this chicken doesn't have enough flavor. I need some George.
Just sprinkle some George powder on it.
Just that same sock picture. Right on the box.
Just some mysterious blank white salt shaker tube with my face on it and nothing else. Mystery Flakes by George.
Mystery Flakes. Oh man, I love George's Mystery Flakes. Oh, on my chicken. On my eggs.
I'm trying to transition us over to the one listener question I'm going to give us this week.
Man, that's a big chunky one. Man. That's chunky. What is this?
Chunky question. Whoever sent it in, I believe, might have some ulterior motives because they sent it in from Gorilla Mail, which is a temporary email anonymizing service. And when I read the question, you'll probably see why. I don't know if they're trying to protect themselves or if they're like an actual troll character trying to press some political buttons on the podcast. But they ended up asking a question that I'd be really fascinated in sharing some thoughts on.
Okay.
So if you would like to send in any questions, suggestions, comments, do it to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. KG1TX plus 4 at gorillamail.com says, so... I didn't play Final Fantasy VII back in the day. Without nostalgia for the original, I understand my opinion is essentially useless to people who played it when it was revolutionary. With the qualification out of the way, though, speaking from the perspective of someone playing the remake demo as a new game for the first time, the writing is pretty offensive. Jesse's lines thus far are, "Cloud is hot," Does Cloud have a girlfriend? Is Cloud dating Tifa, whom, as an aside, I only know as the woman from the boob size controversy? Jessie is easily incapacitated by a stray falling rock and needs to be rescued by Cloud, before immediately flirting with him when he helps her. Then tripping on almost nothing and flirting with Cloud while still on the ground, before having to be helped up by Cloud despite no apparent injuries.
Yep.
Even with the context of understanding that Barrett has always been legendarily racist, I was swept off my feet. He's perpetually angry, aggressive, cursing, shouting, and threatening for no reason at all. His dialect is an off-putting mixture of black scents from disparate parts of the United States. Every so often, he'll make noises for which my only explanation is that the creators heard the shouts in crunk music, then inferred that black people use those vocalizations in everyday life.
Right.
With the context that this is a remake of a beloved artifact of the adolescence of the gaming industry, written in a time of generally lower sensitivity, and created by a country without as much exposure to real black voices, I think this is forgivable. It doesn't feel malicious to me, just hilariously clumsy. But if this game was written today, I would be a little annoyed. My question is this. Do you think it's fair to give this game a free pass in light of all that historical context, despite the fact that many people who encounter the game will not have it?
Short answer is yes, because they can't change it. If they change Final Fantasy VII, it wouldn't be Final Fantasy VII. Like if they they change it back to like modern times, you know, this is exactly how it was back then. It was bad. It's just now they have voices, so it's ultra bad, and it will probably get worse.
we're also coming into this from that boob size controversy. Remember? I don't.
What was the boob size? Oh, Tifa.
Yeah, Tifa's boobs actually are more or less as proportional to her character. The same size in relation to the rest of her character as it is in the original game. They just look smaller because of the more realistic overall anatomical proportions of her character in this version. And that made a lot of gamers really mad.
There's got to be more things to be mad about in the world than boob size in one video game character.
What about Barrett and racism?
Oh, the guy is dumb. Like I did not like him in a demo. It's like whatever, you know.
One thing to qualify though is that he calms down like in the very next scene, right? Like just out. For someone playing this for the first time, I totally get it because it's the first 30 minutes of seeing Barrett. After you get out of this situation, his character calms down and becomes a lot more human and sensitive and gentle, but also still tough guy Mr. T, basically.
It's because I'm used to the whole Japanese like mixture of emotions type janky writing that I see it as just, oh, okay, it's just Final Fantasy, you know, where it's just like the characters are not really complex, you know, they're just like there. You know, there's like, oh, hi.
A lot of people who cried while playing through Final Fantasy VII might be squirming right now at the thought that their favorite characters aren't complicated, but...
Oh, come on. They're not
I know
complicated.
Exactly what you mean, though.
You know exactly what I mean. I just played it. Like, what, was it a couple years? Come on, man. Like, it's just not complicated. It's not, I mean, they're cool characters. I'm not saying they're not cool, but
I thought about this in the shower.
Yeah.
In terms of how embarrassed I would be to play this in front of my mom, the racism is kind of a different dimension than the sexism. Mm-hmm. Because when going through a lot of anime and video games, like black characters in Japanese games are typically handled really weird.
Yeah. Bad.
Like I like that they use the word black sense here in the email because that totally describes how Barrett talks.
Yeah.
And it totally comes from a Japanese guy seeing Mr. T and being like, "Oh wow, what a weird, silly, cool character." And that being their primary exposure to the stereotypes. And so characters like Barrett show up. And remember Dragon Ball Z with Mr. Popo?
Yeah.
And remember Jinx from Pokemon?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how you feel about this angle that I have on the situation. That a lot of the blackfacing that you do see in Japanese media comes more from a place of ignorance, though, than it does malice. And that makes it a little bit more, I don't want to say okay, but at least excusable and understandable. Because
I don't know if it's excusable, but it's just like,
right.
Who cares? Like, I mean, I don't care enough to be like, you didn't see me mention it. Oh, no, I did mention it. I was like, oh, well, Barrett's character is dumb, but like, it's just a one-off thing. Like, I don't care enough. He's not saying terribly bad stuff. And I understand it might come from ignorance because there's not enough black people in Japan. There's from what I've seen is that all the black people know each other in Japan. When I looked up, because I was thinking about moving over there, and I was looking up all these videos, and it's like, there's like a little group.
I have had plenty of black friends in my life who still love anime and love Japan and have moved there and live there okay. And what I think is going on here is that these characters are Japanese artists exaggerating what they think is cool and exotic about people who look different than them. But what they don't have is the 400 years of slavery and oppression that the Western world did. Mm-hmm. And that a lot of the stereotypes are like, because Mr. Popo is a perfectly competent character. But in the history of America, when we were doing blackface 60 to 100 years ago, like, the characters were intended to promote a very damaging stereotype in which the blackface characters were lazy and incompetent and barbaric, rude subhumans. But in these blackface characters in Japanese media are like competent, fleshed out characters. Except Jinx from Pokemon. Fuck that shit. Mr. Popo and Barrett are
well. That's from some type of like tradition in Japan where they put on blackface and stuff. I can't remember what it was. That's what
you
Jinx
see it
is supposed to be imitating.
in some Scandinavian countries too.
Oh really? Ooh, never mind.
No. Blackface is a thing that shows up everywhere, but in America it's especially offensive because it was like. 400 years of slavery and oppression.
Yeah, and sadly, racism still exists. Sadly, at least here in Japan, people would just be, from what I've heard, and talking to people, it's more like they're like amazed, like, oh wow, I don't see you around. Yeah,
like everyone will look at you weird, but the cops won't shoot you.
Oh yeah, which I'd rather be alive. I'd rather be looked at than alive. And I get looked at here in California, so because there's not many black people in Orange County at all. So, well, there you go. But yeah, I don't. It gets a pass because it kind of just needs to be the same, even though there are a little bit of changes. It kind of just needs to be the same as it was before. I don't think they would be able to pull off them redoing it.
Yeah,
it's better if they just redo the same thing they did and update the graphics and make the fights cooler, which I'm pretty sure the fights are gonna be good. And that's I don't know if this person is either female or black. I don't see this as a white male writing this email. There's some I could feel it there.
I don't think I've ever heard the term black sense before in my life, but I really like that one.
Yeah, black sense. So like, yeah, trust me, like it's there, it's annoying, but it just like everything else, you just gotta be like, okay, and not let things bother you. Because if you let things like this bother you, it's just like, you just don't play it, Just don't play it. Don't give them your money. I played it when I was young, so it's one of those things where I never even realized how bad it was until later on when I replayed it when I was older. But yeah, like SpongeBob.
SpongeBob is timeless.
FF7 is just like SpongeBob.
No, man. SpongeBob is way better than Find Friends.
You don't really realize how adult SpongeBob is until you get older.
The hardest I have ever laughed in my life was when I watched the Krabby Patty instructional training video as a grown-ass, like, 29-year-old man.
Oh, man.
One of the most, like, wholesome things about the awful times we're living in and how many problems the next generation has to grow up with is just how much they ended up loving SpongeBob, like how SpongeBob has become a permanent part of anyone who grew up with it and onwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the Looney Tunes of millennials and Zoomers. Everyone's gonna get every reference, and that's good to see, I guess. At least they have good taste in classic cartoons. Which feels weird to say because it premiered in like 99, 2000, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, SpongeBob probably seems so much older to the kids than it does to us.
They're still making
especially because it's 2D hand animation.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah. That's
go.
the Dad and Sons podcast.
Well, hopefully that answered your question. Crunk music. It's been a while since I heard some crunk music. Oh, man.
Oh, shit. I wonder if they still do this, but I remember hearing about one of my friends who went to Japan and he was rifling through a record store and all the rap music was called black music.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Now that's bad. That's bad. That's pretty bad. I don't know what will be better, black music or African American music.
Where are they going to put the Eminem albums?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know.